Hey kindergarten boys and girls, I hope you're having a good day today. We are going to read such a fun story today. Let's look at the front cover of it. What do you notice, before I tell you the name of this book, what do you notice on the front cover? That's right, a flower. So let's think just for a minute. What kind of flower names can you tell, Miss BJ? Let's think of all the different types of flowers that you know. Let's see how many we can name. Let's see, Miss BJ knows daisies, lilies, roses. Let's see, daisy, lily, roses. Those kinds of flowers can also be someone's name, can't they? Have you ever heard somebody's name Rose before? Or somebody be called Lily or Daisy? Those can be names, but they're also kinds of flowers, right? Well, this story is called Chrysanthemum. That's the title of our story today, Chrysanthemum. And chrysanthemum is a type of flower. Look at that pretty flower. Have you ever saw a chrysanthemum before? Oh, it's very pretty, isn't it? Oh, look at that. What else do we see on the front cover of this book? Oh, it's a little mouse girl, isn't it? Let's take a picture walk through this book. When we take a picture walk through a book, that's when we look at the pictures in the book without reading the words. So let's look at a few pictures in this book without reading any of the words. Look at there. Now we don't look at all the pictures. We just scan through a few of the pages. Just do a little gazing through. What do we notice? We notice a little mouse girl, don't we? I wonder if her name might be Chrysanthemum. I don't know. All right, the name of our book, as I've already said, is Chrysanthemum. And Chrysanthemum is written and illustrated by the same person. And that person is Kevin Hinckus. And Kevin Hinckus, like I said, is the author and the illustrator to Chrysanthemum. How fun is that? So, what do we know about authors? What's their job? They write the words to a book, right? And what do we know about illustrators? What's their job? They color and draw the pictures in a book. Good job. All right, Chrysanthemum. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Who are they talking about? That's right. They're talking about this little girl. This little mouse girl. Oh, isn't she sweet? Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. We were right. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. Oh, she loved her name. Yeah, she just loved it. It says right here in this picture, it says, I love my name. How does she feel about her name? That's right, she loves it. She loves her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Do you think orange might be her favorite color? What's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. Oh, when we start school, we write our names a lot, don't we? On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. Show me your brightest smile. I love it. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum. School. How is she feeling? That's right, she's so excited for school. She's so happy. She loves her name and she can't wait to get to school and write it. But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. It says Mrs. Chud, Dawn, Eve, Lois, Al, Les, Kay, Max, Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Ken, Joe, Rita, Victoria, Chrysanthemum. Look at all those names. Now I'm noticing something on this page. Look at everybody else's names in their boxes by them. And then look at Chrysanthemum's. What do you notice? It's too long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Now let's stop just for a moment. We see two vocabulary cards, or vocabulary words, and we may not know what they mean. So I've written them right here, wilted and dreadful. Wilted means if something wilts, if a plant wilts, it begins to droop. And this said Chrysanthemum wilted, so she drooped. She felt like she was going to droop. And dreadful. That means very frightening and awful and bad. So she thought her name was bad. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could, and she dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. Oh, we saw that word again. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. They're not being very nice, are they? The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even looked like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and started at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Miss Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Miss Twinkle was in indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Miss Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Miss Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is long, said Miss Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Miss Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Miss Twinkle, I'm named after a flower too. You are, said Victoria. Yes, said Miss Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it is absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. The end. We forgot to talk about scarcely. That means hardly or certainly not. So if her name scarcely fits on a name tag, that means it hardly doesn't fit on a name tag. All right, I hope you liked Chrysanthemum. So Chrysanthemum loved her name at first, and then she went to school, and then she didn't like it. And then after Miss Twinkle came along, she loved her name again, didn't she? All right. Hope you boys and girls enjoyed this book. Also, we need to learn to always be kind to one another. Even if people's names are different, we should never be unkind to one another, should we? No, that's right. Hope you guys enjoyed this book. Bye, kindergarten friends.